This podcast is rated S for spoilers. Listener discretion is advised. Don't forget to view our spoiler-free companion video on our Half Past Podcast channel on YouTube. Welcome to the Half Past Podcast. This is episode 52, the movie review of Jack Reacher Never Go Back. We'll also be discussing the Passengers trailer. I'm Graham Ricks, and here with me is my friend and co-pilot Ian Jones.
All right, let's start banging these out here now that we've got movies again.
I know, right? It has been rough. The fall time period is always terrible, you know? Like, there's never anything going on. And then winter, it kind of picks up, but then it goes into Oscar season, you know? And so...
right, we cannot do any of those movies. It doesn't work.
No,
so.
they're just like dramas that are probably really good, but there's not much to talk about with them, you know? And some of them are just awful anyway.
Yeah, well, it's like, you know, it's like when I went with my grandma to see the King's Speech.
Yeah.
You know, and like, it's a great movie, but what the hell would you and I have talked about? Oh, hey, that British actor, he was really good. Yeah, no, wait a minute, what? A British actor is really good?
It's just one of those things, man. It's like, it's very seldom do you get an Academy Award winning movie that's actually kind of entertaining at the same time. So, and it's nothing to say bad about the movies. Like, it's like you said, King's Speech, it's a good movie, but...
Right, yeah. It's a good movie, and I had popcorn when I went to see it, but I mean, that was probably the highlight.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, so Jones, let's talk about this romantic sci-fi, huh? Passengers. Yeah. So, you got Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence together in this one. And when I saw this trailer, like, I don't know, it was probably like 3 weeks ago or something at the movie theater. And I went and looked it up when I got home, and apparently this movie has been in development hell for like 10 years almost. Like, they've been trying to get this movie out, and it was originally going to be like Keanu Reeves and Reese Witherspoon, which would be...
What an upgrade.
So instead you have Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence. So yeah, that's quite the upgrade for this movie. And so I'm curious, like, how well it's going to be. You know, when you hear about movies that are in development hell, they're usually in development hell for a reason. And I really hope that this one is a little better than what I'm thinking it's going to be. Because it's like, first of all, it's like romantic sci-fi doesn't sound like the most appetizing thing to watch, you know? But it might be pretty good. The cast is good, obviously. And we get to see Lawrence Fishburne for a second, right?
Yeah.
So maybe it'll be fine. I don't know. And how do you feel about Chris Pratt in this role? It looks like it's a little more of a serious role for this guy, right?
Well, you know, I don't know. I mean, he kind of has... I mean, he's got the depth to be able to do that. But I mean,
think he does too.
It almost even reminds me of like what he was in Magnificent Seven, where...
Yes.
You know, I mean, he brought some comedy there, but... You know, I mean, just from the trailer alone, he could be responsible for everything going on that ship.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I would have just spoiled the entire movie for you. You know, because he saw one blonde girl get into a hypersleep chamber right before they all went under.
It's kind of a weird thing. I definitely agree that I think he has some depth. Even when you watch something like Jurassic World, he's more of a brooding type character as opposed to just kind of the funny guy. Like Guardians of the Galaxy, where he's just funny as hell and just kind of amusing the whole time. So I'll have to see what happens with it. I definitely, when I saw it, it looked entertaining enough for me to want to go see it. So I guess that's something, right?
Well, you know, so for Jack Reacher, they had this trailer, and someone screwed up and they put the trailer in twice back to back.
Oh, damn.
So everyone was groaning the second time.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it is because when something like that happens, it immediately makes you not want to see the movie.
Yes. And
you're always wondering if you're going to see it for a third time. That's what you start thinking towards the end of the second showing of the same trailer.
Oh, that's
like,
great.
Did they do this 3 times? I sure hope not. And like, I know everyone is thinking the same thing at the same time. Yeah. So, I mean, we're gonna give it a go anyway.
Yeah, we'll give it a watch and see if it's gonna be good or not. I am very kind of iffy about it. I don't know. We'll have to see. You got anything else for this thing?
No, I don't. Let's do this.
All right, let's get into Jack Reacher Never Go Back. So let's take a quick break and then we'll get into that. Jack Reacher must uncover the truth behind a major government conspiracy in order to clear his name. That's right, another short one. I've been extremely lazy with these lately.
Mail it in.
Mail it in. Oh, man. This movie's directed by Edward Zwick, who also did Courage Under Fire, The Last Samurai, and Blood Diamond, which is kind of a weird combination of movies. Not sure what's going on with that, but it's kind of weird because when I saw his name pop up there, I was like, I know I've seen this name before because the name Zwick is not a very common name. So I was just kind of
I kind of hope that he's like super fast, like he's his name, like he's like a meta-human or something. Like he secretly can run like 60 miles an hour. just like a little bit fast. Like
it's not like Flash or Quicksilver style, but it's enough to where it's definitely like
you would notice. You'd notice it. If he had to get somewhere in a hurry along the side of the road on the highway, he could book it, man.
Oh man. So he's starring Tom Cruise as Jack Reacher. Again, this is one of those actors who's been around for a long time, so if you don't know who Tom Cruise is, I can't help you. But he's from Top Gun, all the Mission Impossible movies, and Minority Report. Kobe Smulders as Turner. Now the whole time I was watching this movie, I was trying to figure out where I had seen her before.
You're kidding me.
Yes. I'm like, the whole time, I'm like, what the heck? I know this actor. And it's because she's in like the Avengers and Captain America Winter, so she plays Maria Hill. And all the movies.
I mean, she plays the same character.
Yes, right? And yes, she does. She plays the exact same character in this movie, essentially. She's very good at the military style of character, clearly.
Fun fact, and I know my girlfriend's gonna listen to this, and
Nice.
I've already said this, and it may sound insensitive.
Oh, jeez.
But I mean, this is definitely like an attractive brunette that just doesn't do it for me.
What?
like her acting. Like, I get that she's talented.
Yeah.
And everything, but I mean, she just like, I don't know what it is about her. Like, even on that stupid show.
What is your deal?
With the great NPH. I don't know. There's something about her that just,
Sometimes that's just how it is, man. I don't know. I think she's fine. It's fine.
Really?
Oh, man. Aldous Hodge as Espen, which I also had seen this guy, and I didn't know where the heck he's from, but he's from that TV show Leverage, which I've seen like a few times before. And he also was in Straight Outta Compton, where he played MC Ren. Danica Yarosh as Samantha. Now, because she's a child actor, or just a really younger actor, she's been in like a ton of short movies, and probably her biggest role before this was Heroes Reborn, which was that miniseries. Did you watch Heroes
Nope.
Reborn?
No,
Yeah,
Heroes
I
was
watched.
terrible. No,
I
for all
thought the
those
first
people-
Heroes was fine.
No, it wasn't.
It just
wasn't
ended
fine.
bad.
It wasn't fine. Tim Kring, I'd slap him. If he was here, I'd slap him for having a good idea and just failing to execute it entirely.
Wow.
They're heroes who don't
Yes.
really have powers.
Yes.
I mean, two of them do,
Yes.
but I mean, they're just so weak. It's like, what's the point?
It's kind of like watching that show. What was that? Alphas, which was kind of the same.
Correct. Yes, and that was why I didn't even bother after the pilot. Heroes, I got a little bit farther into.
Yeah. I tried watching Heroes Reborn and I couldn't do it. I think I got through the first like 1 or 2 episodes and I didn't I was just like, okay, I'm done. I've lost interest.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm a fan of Zachary Levi, but
Yeah.
I think I saw 1 episode
Mm.
and didn't like him in it. So I was like, all right, well,
That's terrible. Patrick Husinger. That's how you say that, right?
sure.
Like you would know.
Yeah.
As the hunter. He was in Gossip Girl and Royal Pains, and that's like the biggest things that he's been in. So I think this is representative of kind of part of the problems with this movie. Is you have a lot of like B-list actors in here, and I'm not exactly sure why that is. And a prime example of that is like this next guy, Holt McCallany, as Colonel Morgan, or however the hell you pronounce that name. But like, that actor I've seen in a ton of crap, a ton of stuff. But it's always like in a TV show for 1 episode, and he's just like a side character.
Yeah.
So he's like never, and it's like even in this one, he's just like this side character.
He's a day player.
Yeah, right.
Right.
It's like such a weird thing.
You have to spend a lot of money on Tom Cruise,
Well, yes,
and so sometimes that
really hurts the movie
Yes.
overall because you can't get
It
any
does.
more talent.
There you go.
But he was also in Fight Club 3 Kings. He was also in Heroes. And he's also, like, he shows up in an episode of Burn Notice, which Burn Notice is an awesome show. It's all on Netflix. Watch it. The last one I have on here is Robert Knepper as General Harkness. And he was in Prison Break, Transporter 3, and also in Heroes. So, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out the connection of Heroes, but there's a lot of actors that were part of Heroes or Heroes Reborn in this movie, which is really strange.
Well, there's your problem. All right. and on that note, we'll get into
Yes. We'll
the
get into
next.
that.
All right.
So, I guess we'll just take a break there so that we can
play some music.
so
That was
we
a
can get
golden
into that.
transition. Man. Do
All
you like
right.
that? Do you like that segue? Let's do this.
Nice. We'll take a break. All right. All right, Jones. So let's get into this ridiculous movie here. Now, okay.
All right.
So
I like that description. Go for it.
the first problem I have with this movie is literally the first scene, and that's because it's the trailer. So
Okay.
you watch the trailer, and because of like you and me, we both watch a ton of movies, right?
Yes.
So we've seen this trailer multiple times before.
Correct.
And so seeing it again at the beginning of the movie already sets a very bad like precedence in the beginning of the movie. You're just like, okay, did they just not have anything else to show in
Correct. Yeah.
in this movie? And it turns out there really isn't anything else to show.
Yeah, it's
in the movie.
They weirdly start off with one of the better scenes.
Yes.
And even then I thought that maybe there wasn't enough to it.
Right?
So
So it's like, it's a huge problem with this movie. And so, like, I have a ton of issues with this movie, but I'm gonna just say one more thing, and then we'll get through yours so we can kind of talk this through, so I don't kind of lose my cool or whatever. But one of my biggest issues was I really, really do not understand the motivation of the Hunter character, because throughout the movie he's hunting this guy down. He's obviously a part of the government has hired this company, like, what is it, Parasource or something?
Yes, yeah.
And he's a part of that, and they're trying to take him out. Now,
they're trying to take Jack Reacher out.
They're trying to take Jack Reacher out. So, with that said, the guy that was, like, essentially the head of Parasource is... He basically gets captured and, like, taken out. Like, he gets arrested. So, like, as an employee, would you continue on with trying to take out Jack Reacher?
Well, I mean, I
thought, well, let me finish my statement here. Right, like, I feel like there should have been another sort of personal attachment from the Hunter and Jack Reacher, because it just didn't make any sense that, like, you would just keep going after this guy.
Right? And yes, I mean, you're right. I mean, you're talking about two big issues with this movie, and one of them is being Parasource, who's a government contracted, like, paramilitary agency, and there's that has a U.S. general at the helm of it somehow, or like a retired one.
Yes.
And they don't really get into logistically how that works, how he's somehow in charge of, a company. It's like a total, if he's currently serving for the Pentagon, it's a total, I mean, I get that it happens, but usually you aren't active military when...
No, you're not.
You do something like this. And so it seemed like he was, which I didn't get. And you're right, he kind of just gets arrested.
Yeah, which, by the way...
And it sort of fizzles.
Yeah, there. And by the way it fizzles there is even just the whole concept is so... It's just so terrible, because you have... Obviously, they find out halfway through the movie that the numbers don't add up.
Right, the missing guns.
Yes, because they have the missing guns. They're selling weapons, but they were talking about how it's so much better. There's no way that selling these weapons to insurgents or whatever could cost as much as just government contracts.
Yeah, so $1 billion contract.
Yeah, so it doesn't make any sense. So they understand that it doesn't add up. But the thing I don't like is that the reveal is just so weird, because they're just transporting drugs.
Yes, and they give it away too. I mean, we're starting to run into a lot of little individual quirks. But I mean, the second they say that and they go after a witness who, and I don't even recall how they got his name, but I mean, there's one guy in New Orleans, who, like, filed a report or was on a report or something, and he came back and he was a junkie, and the second he says that he got hooked on heroin over there, basically that's what they're doing,
that they're transporting drugs. Yes.
So I mean, that whole reveal to me wasn't really much of a surprise, and it could only be a handful of things. It's either a weapon of mass destruction, or drugs, and it was drugs. So I thought that the plot with Parasource and why these two soldiers were killed, and why why the major was arrested, I thought was completely done in reverse, out of order. And I'll tell you why. Did you see the first movie?
No, I didn't see the first movie. I didn't get a chance to watch it. The first movie
starts off with a sniper. You don't see the sniper, but he sets up a nest in Pittsburgh, in a parking garage, and he starts firing at apparently random people.
Yeah.
And you see a chain of events playing out where, the feds get involved. They scour the crime scene. They find one little clue and they go and arrest a guy.
Yeah.
And that guy is someone who Jack Reacher promised he would kill if he ever took another life.
Nice.
So that guy calls Reacher for help. He's that desperate.
Nice.
He doesn't say anything. He just writes on a notepad, "Get me Jack Reacher." And I think that's the big difference between
that already
this movie.
sounds like a way better plot.
It is. So I think they went about this the wrong way. They should have started with the issue happening in Afghanistan, where the soldiers were killed. They should have started with a bit of the cover up. And then I think they should have showed this major being taken into custody, because I think they went about it the wrong way. They started with Jack Reacher. He just happened to be going to Washington, D.C.
Yes.
And the girl he was going to see is all of a sudden in custody and no one's talking about it.
Yes.
So I think they set up the story in a backwards way anyway.
But that's not the only problem. The other problem is the way that it's set up is that because of how they've done it, it would make more sense to have a full circle story with having the major take the hunter out, because she actually has a personal attachment because he killed her men.
Correct. Yes. So that's a really good point. I didn't even think about that.
Right? So my problem is there's no full circle thing with Jack Reacher. Even though
right.
So there's no attachment to, like I was saying earlier, there's no attachment to the hunter with Jack Reacher. It makes more sense that the major would be the one to finally kill him.
Correct.
Right?
Other than the fact that out of nowhere they brought in this plot where he potentially had a daughter.
Yes, but that's just jumbles everything up even more.
It does. And for someone who knows enough about Jack Reacher, I knew right away that there was no way he had a daughter.
Yeah.
So I mean that was sort of a red herring the entire time. And so the fact that they're having to protect her now because they can use her to get to Jack Reacher, I think is really confusing, because Jack Reacher doesn't have any evidence to stop them.
Yeah.
So I mean, I thought it was really weird that they simply followed Jack Reacher for a time period and didn't take him out when they were so okay with just bumping off high-ranking military officials.
Yeah.
I mean, if this was happening today, the Pentagon would be, absolutely cracking down with, the fire of 1,000 suns if they were all of a sudden losing, generals and guys are just getting taken out on our own land. I mean, there's just there's no way that every branch of the government doesn't start looking for Jack Reacher, and I felt like that wasn't really, he was set up, but that wasn't really ever part of the deal.
No,
like he's not on the FBI most wanted list.
No.
I mean, what if it was completely turned around and they started by, immediately putting up the major's face and Jack Reacher's face.
Yeah.
And, changed this around and made this more of a manhunt kind of thing. And it just seemed like they didn't do that.
No, they didn't. The movie is really messy when it comes to the plot. It's really, really messy. And I can definitely see how you probably could have got an average movie out of this had they done a few things differently. It would have been, I mean, although this would have made it more convoluted, it would have been nice to have an extra connection between the hunter and Jack Reacher, since the movie's called Jack Reacher and they follow him the whole time. It would make sense that they would add a connection to that, but still keep the connection with the major also, and then they could just both take him out. Who cares? But you know what I mean? So it's like they're with each other. They're both there at the end scene. Like, just have them both take them the hell out. I don't care. I need a full circle plot, and it just doesn't happen. There's nothing. It's just jumbled mix of everything happening, and the reveal with the drugs fizzles. They arrest that one guy, that fizzles, and then the movie continues on because you have to close this storyline with the Hunter, but the Hunter doesn't have any connection with anything other than the Major, and the Major doesn't kill him. So it's just a weird.
And I mean, there was also the other thing too, where I think they missed an opportunity. The Jack Reacher had talked about, something obviously has happened with Jack Reacher. We don't know what it is, but he keeps talking. He's a drifter. He keeps talking about how he just walked away from this promising military career. Something big happened, and this isn't a part of that. But he keeps sticking his nose in whenever he sees corruption in the military, or he sees people who need his help. He's there for them. But I think they kind of missed a clever chance to maybe spin it a different way. There's a scene where he's talking with the Hunter, and the Hunter says that he never came home. That he went off to war and he came back someone else.
Yeah.
And, so he was, he was really unhinged. I mean, he was doing things that were off the book, even from what his orders were.
Yeah. It's just, I just keep thinking up more stuff that I have a problem with this, because also the fact that he's like really trying to get a hold of Jack Reacher's potential daughter, it's like, to me, it seems like the villain had a much more personal attack towards Jack Reacher than he actually has. Because I understand at the beginning you could get his daughter, his potential daughter, in order for Jack Reacher to come, and that's a trap. I get that. But even after the fact, like, he's still trying to take her out, right? Even though he already, like, so it just seems like, it seems like everything is so much more personal for the villain, but they don't explain that at all. So it's just not there. So it's a very strange way to move about this movie. So I don't know. It's such a weird thing. I just had a problem with that the entire movie. I was like, is there gonna be a reveal where Jack Reacher and this guy has some sort of connection with each other? And there just isn't. There's nothing. It's just such a weird thing. It's messy. Anyway, that's all my quirks, and I know we've been in and out of both of our quirks here. Yeah. So, do you got anything left for the quirks here?
Well, like for example, the escape from the prison drove me nuts.
Okay.
Like, and I hate seeing this, and they tried to show it so that, like, there were flaws within the security system. Guys weren't paying attention.
Yes.
They were, like, letting their guard down, which I don't see. But let's just say that all right, that might happen. The people who are there are military.
Yeah.
Maybe they hold themselves to a different standard, and they don't have to worry about escapes.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just, the second he gets into that spot, there just shouldn't be any way that he could get out of it.
No.
And the other issue I have is this. They assault all these guys on the way out.
Yes.
And there's no repercussions for them escaping prison, which is like such a bad thing in movies, because at the end of this, it's fine. Everyone goes back to what they're doing. You don't see... at the end of the movie, you don't see or hear any consequences. There are dead bodies piled up all over New Orleans, and no one's talking about it. During Mardi Gras, you cannot, that's the hospitality industry down there. New Orleans PD would be shitting a chicken if, all of a sudden they had all these bodies piled up who were ex-military guys who had funny IDs and guns on them.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, every time, like, 4 or 5 guys go after Jack Reacher, he never has a gun, and yet they all end up dying somehow. And the bodies aren't getting stashed somewhere. And, and I mean, at the end scene, there's literally a body falling from the rooftops. And it's just never addressed.
That is weird that that's never addressed. And you make a good point about the prison thing, too, because even, like, you would think eventually that the military itself, rather than just Parasource, would come after him.
Yes,
like, you think that
correct.
would be an additional thing to where it's like, you know, Jack Reacher is just escaped, and the Major escaped, you know, and it would be nice to have some sort of connection with that, where, like, they usually have scenes like that in these movies, where it's just like, you assaulted da-da-da-da-da-da-da, you know, on a phone call, you know, that kind of thing, to explain that what he did was not right, and that the military is pissed, and that's why they're going to continue to hunt you down, and you're going to get hunted down by both the paramilitary and the government at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah, it makes way more sense. It almost seems like there's that Parasource is more overreaching throughout the government than it conveys in the movie, because I could kind of make sense if Parasource was like really, really involved in the military, so that they're like, no, just let them handle it, and we need to keep this a secret type of thing, and that would make a little bit more sense. But that's not exactly how it's conveyed in the movie.
Correct. And they kill off their military connections too.
Yes.
Which I thought just absolutely made no sense to me at all. And I mean, and they try to explain why simply by showing, well, they're going to set Jack Reacher up for this murder because he was in the guy's house.
Yeah.
But I mean, then it still isn't a plot point.
No,
I mean,
it's not a plot point
Jack
at all.
Reacher would still be wanted for the murder of that colonel. I mean, they never talk about that at all.
No.
Like, there's no evidence to exonerate him, and
no,
you know, he's on the hook for 2 murders. So, I mean, like, what the hell's with the happily ever? Like, they just completely gloss over the fact that he was set up.
Yeah.
And, you know, even if they got the general into custody, they never exonerate. There's no evidence to exonerate Jack Reacher. His fingerprints are on 2 crime scenes. And it just never gets talked about.
No.
After that point. The other thing which drove me nuts in that prison scene, and I may cut this down here. I'll just do 2 quirks because I actually have a whole page of stuff.
Yeah, I got a bunch of stuff too.
But car keys in the visor, Mike, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah, I saw that scene.
Like, why is that in there? They just didn't need to do it. It's 1 second. You know, like, really?
I don't even think it's a second. It's just a shot.
Yes.
It's so just, quick, but you instantly see it.
It may not be 30 frames or 24 frames. It's that quick. But it makes no sense at all. I mean,
no, it doesn't.
You know, that's what you do at a prison with your cars right outside, right within the prison gates. You keep your keys in the visor.
I hate the keys in the visor. We've done the video on YouTube about it, and it's just it's the most annoying thing in movies, but it happens all the time. Who the hell puts their goddamn keys in the visor of a car when they leave? It makes 0 sense. Nobody does it. Everybody, the people who own these cars are complete idiots. You know what? I'm not going to carry my keys in my pocket or in my purse. I'm just going to leave them in the visor and walk away from the car. What the hell?
Outside of a prison.
Outside of a prison. It's like, it makes no sense at all, but it's in so many movies. It's so annoying. It's terrible.
You know, chase scenes in crowds. You know, like, I mean, how easy is it to spot someone running in a crowd? And why is it like they always run instead of hide?
Yeah.
Like, when it would just be easier to hide. Like, that always drives me nuts.
Yeah, well, you know, that's one thing that I definitely kind of liked about this movie with that, with the potential daughter, Samantha or whatever her name is. She did a lot of that. She did a lot of hiding and, like, tricking people while they're trying
yes.
She did a lot of that kind of stuff. So her in particular was really good at that. And I thought that a lot of the stuff with her was actually pretty creative and kind of fun part of the movie. But that's me getting into to the likes here. Do you have any more, Corks?
You know what? I can let him go.
All right. I guess we'll just continue on to my likes. But I really enjoyed that aspect with her because it's kind of funny, even though she's not a major part of the movie, and the fact that she's even existing in this movie just jumbles the plot up. A lot of the stuff with her and how she got away from people and how she hid, she was just really smart and really creative about it. And I thought that showed a lot of her character and her background. So I thought that was really interesting. My other is I liked seeing the Major finally take somebody out, because towards the end of the movie, she finally takes somebody out.
I'm shaking my head at you.
The thing is through the whole movie, I don't understand why you don't get to see more of the Major taking people out. She clearly has this persona around her where she can take care of herself and take guys out if she needs to, yet she keeps getting beat up the whole time, which, by the way, is a part of my problem where I'm why isn't she the one that eventually takes that Hunter dude out? I wanted that to happen at the end of the movie because that was the connection, and she was very adamant about hunting this guy down and taking him out, but she doesn't do it. So that's all I had. I don't have any other.
I'm sorry, I have to disagree with you there, because one of my likes is actually that Jack Reacher and that dude fought it out without a girl getting involved. And not to sound sexist, but it does happen all the time. You have a very good point, though. But it happens all the time in movies.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't happen that often in movies.
Where damsels get involved in the fight at the end, and it makes no sense.
Here's the deal, though. In this movie, it makes more sense.
It makes sense. Yes,
it makes way more sense to have her do it and not Jack Reacher.
Correct.
It makes 100% more sense.
Yeah.
So I don't even know what your point is.
I agree with you there, but I'm glad she didn't get involved. And actually, as the fight was going on, I was kind of hoping she would show up, because I was like, "What the hell are they doing up there? What's taking them so long?
They're not doing anything up there. They're doing nothing. They're just standing up there. The guy that they know has taken out her subordinates that apparently she was very passionate about at the end of at the beginning of the freaking movie.
Yes.
She's just standing up there, not taking this guy out. That thoroughly pissed me off in this movie.
I didn't even give it a second thought, but you're right.
It makes no sense at all. I can't stand that. I was hoping to see more from her, which is the reason why the one scene you get, it would have been nice if that was the guy, that was the Hunter dude. That would have been nice, where she finally just finishes him off, because screw that guy. But there's nothing there. So the whole time I expect the Major to do more stuff, but she just doesn't. And so when I finally got to see her do one thing, I'm like, all right, okay. She finally proves that she can do something. But her persona presents itself as how that she can do this. And there's so many scenes in this movie where they're arguing about how she's a woman and he's a man. There's there's so many scenes in there where it's just I can take care of myself, or I can do this or whatever, and it's never that never finishes itself. So it just falls flat. It falls completely flat. So I don't understand why they didn't have her take him out. It makes so much more sense. It's you really should have got way more from the Major because of the way this movie presents itself than what we received. And I don't know. But I disagree.
I meant to say something about the battle of the sexist thing there, because you make a really good point. Jack Reacher never really gives her that respect.
He doesn't.
Especially with the way that the argument ends in the bedroom.
Yeah.
And I forgot all about that until you just now mentioned it.
He goes, no, I'm leaving. And so
I'm the one doing this. Yeah.
Yeah. So she loses the fight essentially, and he never earns her respect ever, which is why I don't freaking understand. Again, it would have tied everything up had she killed him. Because the same guy that kicked both of their asses earlier in the movie, if she takes him out, it makes sense because she has the personal attachment, and it proves the battle of the sexes thing that's already been established. But nothing happened. It's like the most ridiculous thing. Right. Whatever. And we're in the likes. And we're in the likes.
Oh. Okay. Well, I'll tell you, I think they did a better job of making Reacher feel like a drifter. He's always bumming a ride, but then they're in that, and I love the line about never underestimate the charm of a seedy hotel. Yeah, I think that's a great line, especially if you're gonna pick up, a girl who's out of your league.
Yeah.
But, then they're in a really nice hotel in New Orleans during Mardi Gras, which, again, was another quirk of mine. So, all right, we're just going to stop. We're going to stop talking about likes because that really drove me nuts. They just got 2 rooms, man. No problem.
Oh,
in the middle of Mardi Gras.
Which, by the way, which is more crimes being out. They stole so much money.
Yes, they did. Uh-huh.
All right. Let's just rate this thing so we can move forward.
I'm confused by the moral. And now my dogs are howling at someone.
Oh, all right. So the thing about this movie is it's just a freaking mess of a plot. And I guess there's nothing really there for this movie, and there's nothing really memorable for this movie. And it's so messy that I don't understand why you'd want to, there's no reason to go see this movie. So I say skip it.
I think it's... I'm on the fence about this one. I think it's fine as a Netflix movie.
I think that's even insulting some Netflix movies, but then again, there are some Adam Sandler movies on there.
Well, there's some Netflix original.
Yes.
Sandler movies. All right.
Well,
I love how just me describing the plot to the first one already sounded a lot better than the second one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the first one is a better movie.
All right.
For sure.
I'll have to watch the first one just so I can get some respect for this character.
Well, and your level of rage here is commendable for not seeing the first one, too. Because I feel like maybe it may have been worse. Oh, jeez.
Oh, man, that's terrible. All right, so let's sign out. So,
all right.
If anybody wants to contact us, we have our home on the web, halfpastpodcast.com.
Like us on Facebook.
Rate us on iTunes, and we're on Google Play.
We're on Stitcher and Libsyn.
Email us at halfpastcast@gmail.com. That's halfpastcast@gmail.com. Let us know you're listening. Let us know you can't stand us, or if you disagree with us with how terrible this movie is.
It's pretty terrible. And Graham checks that daily.
Yep.
And he may send you a topless photo of him.
Nice.
see those curly hairs.
That's fantastic.
Tweet us at Half Past Podcast.
I like how you still don't know your lines after 52 episodes.
Shut up. Shut up. Well, at one point you took them away from me.
I did take it away from you.
That didn't work. So
no, it did not.
Suck it. Suck it, Trebek.
Thank you for listening and thank you for your support.
Suck it, Sean. You suck it.
Oh man, I love that freaking show.
Psych is awesome. Psych is awesome
such a fun show. That is also all on Netflix. Which
they just ripped us off.
That's what?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? That sucks.
We were the original Psych. I'm sure of it.
I'm sure of it.
All right. Next week, not next week, but coming up.
Coming up, I guess it's like 2 weeks from now. We're gonna do the Doctor Strange movie, which was probably a far better movie.
All right, That'd do it.
Terrible, absolutely terrible. God dang it! I thought that you had said that they had taken it off Netflix and not ripped us off as characters. Damn it!
Oh.
Damn it!
I'm gonna shave your head and put baby oil all over it.
Well, that just usually when I shave my head, I just look more attractive. So.
Yes, that's the black guy shaved head. Always looks super good.
All right, this is the Half Past Podcast. I'm Graham Ricks.
Jonesy.
See you next flick.